So we'll start with the three values given. We have 9 volts labeled at the battery, 0.5 amps labeled at the resistor, and 10 ohms labeled at the light bulb. So I filled in those three values in the appropriate spots on the table there. You gotta get the column right and the row right for each number. Now I'll proceed to try to solve the circuit. So the first thing I look at is the tip at the top, highlighted in blue there. I do not have any row where I know two numbers. So actually I cannot use Ohm's law just yet. So I have to think of something else, which means I think of either the voltage law or the current law. And what I think of is the current law. So I know the current through the resistor, and the law is that the current stays the same until you meet a junction point for it to change. But there's no junction point in a series circuit. It's going to be the same current in the entire circuit, the same speed in the entire circuit. So that 0.5 amps applies to all three components. So that gets me those two. With that done, now I will use my tip, because if I look at the light bulb row, I know two values in that row, so I can calculate the third value. So I'll say the bulb voltage. I'll do a little bit of a calculation here. So Ohm's law is current equals voltage divided by resistance. So I've got 0.5 amps equals something divided by the resistance of 10. So I have to figure out what that something is. That can be done either just mentally, or you can use multiplication as well. So 0.5 times 10 will end up being the voltage, and that equals to 5. Okay, so the voltage is 5 volts there. Having solved the voltage of the light bulb, I'm going to label that in the diagram, 5 volts. Now I know what the resistor's voltage has to be. It's going to have to be 4 volts, because the 9 volts provided by the battery has to be used up by the two loads there, because that just makes one single loop. And finally, that will allow me to calculate the resistance of the resistor, because in that final row there, I know two of the values. I can get the third one. So resistor's resistance. So the formula is current equals voltage over resistance. So 0.5 equals 4 volts divided by the resistance. I have to figure out what number goes in that denominator, so that 4 divided by it will equal to 0.5, which is a half. So actually, I'll just do that one mentally. The resistance got to be 8, because 4 divided by 8 equals half. So that's going to be 8 ohms, and that completes this circuit.